All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Lalema Aneja Dang and with me is Sarabjit Kaur. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Amrita Hospital at Saridabad in Haryana this morning, to also dedicate to the nation Homi Bhabha Cancer Hospital and Research Centre at Mullapur in Sasnagar district of Punjab in the evening. Prime Minister to also address National Conference of Labour Ministers of all states and union territories tomorrow. Centre issues advisory to states on hand, foot and mouth disease commonly known as tomato flu. ED registers money laundering case in connection with Delhi excise policy scam involving Deputy CM Manish Sisodia. Supreme Court refers petitions filed by warring factions of Shiv Sena to Constitution Bench. DRDO and Indian Navy test fire indigenous vertical launch short-range surface-to-air missile. Indian Air Force terminates services of 3 IAF officers in connection with accidental firing of BrahMos missile into Pakistan. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to attend SCO Defence Ministers meeting at Tashkent in Uzbekistan today. And javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra confirms his participation in Lausanne Diamond League. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will dedicate medical facilities at Saridabad in Haryana and at Mullapur in Sasnagar district of Punjab to the nation today. In the morning, he will inaugurate the Amrita Hospital, built in an area of 133 acres with an estimated expenditure of 6,000 crore rupees in Saridabad. Many dignitaries, including the Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal, will be present on the occasion. Here's a report.
The hospital, founded by Mata Amrita Nandamayi Amma, is the largest and state-of-the-art hospital in the region. Haryana Chief Minister said that with the opening of this hospital, not only the health facilities available to the people of the state will increase, but people from neighbouring states will also be benefited. Prime Minister Modi will also visit Punjab and inaugurate the Homi Bhabha Cancer Hospital and Research Centre built on an around 50 acres area at Mullanpur in Punjab. The 300-bedded hospital and research centre, built at a cost of around 684 crore rupees to provide cancer treatment facility to the people of northern India and would bolster the cost-effective cancer treatment in the state. In view of the Prime Minister's visit, the security has been tightened in the state. Nobhanita Adhikari, AIR News.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the National Conference of Labour Ministers of all states and union territories at 4:30 p.m. tomorrow via video conferencing. The two-day conference is being organized by the Union Ministry of Labour and Employment on 25th-26th August 2022 at Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh. The conference is being convened in the spirit of cooperative federalism to discuss various significant labour-related issues. It will help create further synergy amongst the centre and the state governments in formulating better policies and ensuring effective implementation of schemes for the welfare of workers.
The centre has issued an advisory to states on hand, foot and mouth disease, HFMD, commonly known as tomato flu. According to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, tomato flu was first identified in the Kollam district of Kerala on May 6th, and as of July 26th, more than 82 children younger than 5 years with the infection have been reported by the local government hospitals. The other affected areas of Kerala are Anchal, Aryankovu and Neduvattur. This endemic viral illness triggered an alert to the neighbouring states of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Additionally, 26 children aged between 1 to 9 years have been reported as having the disease in Orissa by the Regional Medical Research Centre in Bhubaneswar. HFMD is characterized by fever, sores in the mouth and a skin rash. It begins with mild fever, poor appetite, malaise and often a sore throat. Union Minister of State for Road Transport and Highways, General V.K. Singh, has said that the country needs to invest 5 times more in infrastructure development to achieve the target of $5 trillion economy. He was addressing a function organized in New Delhi on Gati Shakti, transforming India's infrastructure. General Singh said the government is looking into creating common utility corridors to ensure speedy transportation, lower fuel costs and cost effectiveness. The minister said implementation and time-bound manner completion of the projects are the core areas of PM Gati Shakti Master Plan.
Enforcement Directorate (ED) has registered a money laundering case in connection with the alleged irregularities in the Delhi excise policy, in which Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia and others are allegedly involved. The ED has filed the case under the criminal sections of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act (PMLA) after taking cognizance of a CBI FIR that has named Sisodia and 14 others. The ED, during its probe, will analyze if individuals and companies who were involved in the policy making of this scheme and related entities generated any proceeds of crime under the definition of PMLA, and if there was any possible creation of illegal or benami assets. The agency has powers to attach such assets and question, arrest and prosecute those who indulge in the offence of money laundering. The CBI had conducted raids in the excise policy case at multiple locations, including the residence of Sisodia in Delhi. Sisodia holds multiple portfolios in the Delhi government, including that of excise and education. Supreme Court has referred to a 5-judge constitution bench the petitions filed by the two warring factions of Shiv Sena. A bench headed by Chief Justice N.V. Ramana said the batch of petitions raise important issues relating to the 10th schedule of Constitution regarding disqualification, power of Speaker and Governor and judicial review, etc. The 10th schedule of the Constitution provides for the prevention of defection of the elected and nominated members from their political party and contains stringent provisions against defections. The bench, also comprising Justices Krishna Murari and Hima Kohli, ordered the listing of petitions filed by Eknath Shinde and Uddhav Thackeray factions before the Constitution bench tomorrow. The Supreme Court also asked Election Commission not to pass any order on Shinde faction's plea to declare it the real Shiv Sena and grant the party's poll symbol bow and arrow till the next date of hearing. The apex court order comes on petitions filed by two warring factions of Shiv Sena after the fall of the Uddhav Thackeray-led Maha Vikas Aghadi MVA government in Maharashtra.
BJP President JP Nadda has said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has always believed in empowering people and not distributing freebies. He said this at a function organized on the book Modi at 20 Dreams Meet Delivery, based on the lifestyle of Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi yesterday. Mr. Nadda said that the Prime Minister has always talked about empowerment of the poor, deprived, women and youth and implemented the policies for their empowerment. Schemes like Swachh Bharat Mission, Ujjwala Yojana are being implemented with empowerment of women.
हम सब लोग जानते हैं कि मोदी जी वन लाइफ वन मिशन, एक जीवन एक लक्ष्य, इसको वो सार्थक रूप में जीते हैं। इसमें कहीं भी कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं है। उनका आचार विचार, सोच विचार, उनका कार्य करने का ढंग हर पल देश की सेवा के लिए समर्पित है। हर पल दुनिया में इस तरीके से 20 साल 21 साल हेड ऑफ द स्टेट के रूप में काम करना, ये एक मिशन के रूप में जीते हुए मोदी जी ने इसको पूरा किया है और यह अपने आप में एक रिकॉर्ड है, अद्वितीय रिकॉर्ड है। इस रिकॉर्ड को किसी ने नहीं।
Former Union Minister Prakash Javadekar said that this book is not a book written by any particular author, but it also includes the experiences of many great personalities like Lata Mangeshkar. RJD MLA Awadh Bihari Chaudhary will be the new Speaker of Bihar Assembly. This decision was taken at party legislature's meeting, which was chaired by Deputy Chief Minister Tejaswi Prasad Yadav.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a series, Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashwani ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio.
आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ, reliving the journey of India since independence over the last 75 years with All India Radio. From 15th August, the series is being broadcast on All India Radio 100.1 FM Gold Channel, primetime news bulletins and across all its platforms. Tune in to stay updated with All India Radio.
In today's episode, we bring you the story of the Prime Ministers of India who served the nation from the 14th of January 1980 to the 21st of April 1997. Indira Gandhi was sworn in as the Prime Minister on the 14th of January 1980 and held the post till her death on the 31st of October 1984. Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister on October the 31st, 1984 and he continued to serve till the 2nd of December 1989.
I, Rajiv Gandhi, do solemnly affirm that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my duties as Prime Minister for the Union, and that I will do right to all manner of people in accordance with the Constitution and the law, without fear or favour, affection or ill will.
Vishwanath Pratap Singh was elected as the Prime Minister on the 2nd of December 1989 and held the post till the 10th of November 1990.
और हम जानते हैं अगर भारत को सबल करना है तो हमको उद्योग को भी सबल करना होगा। उद्योग की हम अवहेलना नहीं कर सकते हैं। बिना एक सशक्त औद्योगिक आधार के भारत सबल नहीं होगा, उसको हम मजबूती से करेंगे। और इसमें विशेष रूप से निर्यात की ओर भी हमको ध्यान देना होगा और छोटे लघु उद्योगों की ओर भी हमको ध्यान देना होगा। और जो लाल फीते शाही के अंदर हमारे उत्पादन की शक्तियां जो बंधी रही हैं, उद्योग के दृष्टि उस लाल फीते शाही को भी हमको काट करके उत्पादन की शक्तियों को अग्रसर करना।
Chandrasekhar held the post from the 10th of November 1990 to the 21st of June 1991.
SAARC came into being despite the problems, large and small, which have existed between the member countries. While these differences impose a certain discipline on our agenda, cooperation within the framework provided by SAARC should help to create a new climate by the resolution of these differences. Economic cooperation among the South Asian countries has its own logic and compulsions.
P.V. Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister on the 21st of June 1991 and continued till May 16th, 1996.
भारत के 44वें स्वतंत्रता दिवस के इस शुभ अवसर पर मैं आप सबको अभिवादन करता हूं। आखिरी 10वां चुनाव अभी हाल में संपन्न हुआ। इन चुनावों में हमने आपकी प्रसन्नता देखी, आपकी नाराजगी देखी, लेकिन समय समय पर जो भी आपने हमें प्रदान किया उसे हमने सिर आंखों पर लगाया और आप ही के आदेश पर हम चलते रहे। हम आपके हैं, आप में से आते हैं, आपके रहेंगे, यही हमारा पता है, यही हमारी पहचान है। इसके अलावा हमें किसी पहचान की कोई आवश्यकता नहीं है।
H.D. Devegowda became the Prime Minister on the 1st of June 1996 and held the post till the 21st of April 1997.
I, H.D. Devegowda, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my duty as Prime Minister for the Union, that I will do right to all manner of people except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties as Prime Minister.
Inder Kumar Gujral took over as the Prime Minister on the 21st of April 1997 and served till 19th of March 1998.
That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my duties as Prime Minister for the Union, and that I will do the right to all manner of people in accordance with the Constitution and the law, without consideration.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Amrita Hospital at Saridabad in Haryana this morning, to also dedicate to the nation Homi Bhabha Cancer Hospital and Research Centre at Mullapur in SAS Nagar district of Punjab in the evening. Prime Minister to also address National Conference of Labour Ministers of all states and union territories tomorrow. Centre issues advisory to states on hand, foot and mouth disease, commonly known as tomato flu. ED registers money laundering case in connection with Delhi excise policy scam involving Deputy CM Manish Sisodia. Supreme Court refers petitions filed by warring factions of Shiv Sena to Constitution Bench. DRDO and Indian Navy test fire indigenous vertical launch short-range surface-to-air missile. Indian Air Force terminates services of 3 IAF officers in connection with accidental firing of BrahMos missile into Pakistan. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to attend SCO Defence Ministers meeting at Tashkent in Uzbekistan today, and javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra confirms his participation in Lausanne Diamond League. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
कॉम्पिटिशन की तैयारी करे परीक्षार्थियों के लिए आकाशवाणी के न्यूज सर्विस डिवीजन का प्रोग्राम है अभ्यास। इस बार का विषय है एंथ्रोपोलॉजी और आप अपने सवाल इस विषय पर हमें व्हाट्सएप कर सकते हैं 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल भी कर सकते हैं abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर। इसका जवाब आपको मिलेगा शनिवार रात 9:30 बजे FM गोल्ड 100.1 मेगाहर्ट्ज पर। आपके सवाल का हम करेंगे इंतजार 24 अगस्त तक। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर
8700014242।
Defence Research and Development Organization DRDO and Indian Navy successfully flight tested vertical launch short-range surface-to-air missile yesterday. The missile was tested from the integrated test range at Chandipur off the coast of Odisha. The missile has been indigenously designed and developed by DRDO. Defence Ministry said the flight test was carried out from an Indian naval ship against a high-speed unmanned aerial target for demonstration of vertical launch capability. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has complimented DRDO, Indian Navy and associated teams on the successful flight trial of the missile. He said the missile will prove to be a force multiplier for the Indian Navy. DRDO Chairman Dr. G. Satish Reddy congratulated the teams involved in the successful flight test. He said the trial has proved the effectiveness of the weapon system. He added that it will further strengthen the Indian Navy for neutralizing various aerial threats at close ranges, including sea-skimming targets.
The government has terminated the services of 3 Indian Air Force officers in the matter of accidental firing of a BrahMos missile into Pakistan. The incident happened in March this year. In a statement, Indian Air Force said a BrahMos missile was accidentally fired on 9th March this year. It said a court of inquiry was set up to establish the facts of the case, including fixing responsibility for the incident. The Court of Inquiry found deviation from the standard operating procedures by 3 officers, which led to the accidental firing of the missile. In the Court of Inquiry, 3 officers have primarily been held responsible for the incident and their services have been terminated by the central government with immediate effect. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will attend the SCO Defence Ministers meeting at Tashkent in Uzbekistan today. He arrived in Tashkent yesterday. On the first day of his visit, Mr. Singh held bilateral meetings with his counterparts Lieutenant General Bakudir Kurbanov of Uzbekistan, Colonel General Ruslan Zaksyklov of Kazakhstan and Lieutenant General Viktor Kreninin of Belarus. The Defence Ministry said the entire spectrum of defence cooperation with the three countries was reviewed during the meetings, with focus on identifying avenues to expand mutually beneficial collaboration.
In Morning Matters now, let us listen to a discussion on Make in India for Defence Sector. The participants are Ashok Kumar, retired Major General, and Dinakar Perry, journalist.
The Make in India and the Indira's effort, the defence manufacturing and modernization of this country. A lot has happened in the last few years. A lot of steps have been taken. We just get a sense of, as we celebrate 75 years of independence, let's see, just get a sense of where is it, how is it going forward, what are the challenges we face, and how can we overcome them and take it to fruition. General, can you give an overview of what has happened so far? I mean, a lot has been done. So can you give a sense of where is it and what are the challenges you foresee in the endeavor to become self-sufficient or reliant in defense?
If you see, India became independent on 15th August 1947, and as it started its journey towards national growth, number of other countries, even smaller, because of their focus in manufacturing sector, moved much ahead as far as the economic agenda is concerned. But somehow this was one sector where we did progress, but we did not progress as per our potential, as per our need, which also resulted in lack of unemployment and number of other related issues. We got more dependent on the imports and then, dishing out our forests on that count. However, it was, I think, September 2014 when the current government declared this Make in India mission, and besides giving certain concessions, rule simplification to the indigenous industry, it also invited foreign vendors and manufacturers to make their products in India, whether it is needed by India or they wanted to go in for exports. Number of process simplification and single window clearance was accorded, and there has been some progress on that. While India wanted to grow economically because of this mission, it was also concerned that the unemployment problem of the country should also get solved. But these manufacturers who were keen to establish certain facilities in India also needed a skilled manpower. I think this realization came to the government also. And just about 10 months later than the Make in India mission, they announced the Skill in India mission, and large-scale efforts started on skilling in India. Though both Make in India and Skill in India could have done simultaneously, or to my mind even Skill in India could have preceded the Make in India, but what will be the issue? Now both are in progress.
There are two aspects here. One is about meeting the domestic requirements, our own requirements for our armed forces. Two is about promoting the exports. Apart from the negative import list, which is a great step forward, what are the structural issues to be addressed?
The difficulties and challenges being faced as to how we are not able to take care of the larger platforms to the degree which we need. And even though we desire and we are facilitating the role of the private sector, but still there are challenges. So I will give you some inputs towards that. Probably if those issues are addressed, then we will be much better off than which we are in now. Number one is, there is a government financial regulations, popularly known as GFR. Now that document is the base and mandatory document for doing the procurement for all the central government agencies, including the defense. However, in addition to that, the Ministry of Defense has, come out with the defense acquisition procedure, or, subsequently DPR also, outlining, additional norms as a mandatory requirement to be followed for the procurement. Top of that, the Army headquarters or the service headquarters, their financial planning directorate, they have come out with their own SOPs. And if you go down to the command headquarters, which is the lowest procurement agency for Army Commander Special Financial Powers, they have come out with their own SOP. And with each downward SOP, the process has become, much more restrictive. I think fundamental change which the government must do without further delay, that all the procurements must be made within the GFR only. If the Ministry of Defense, Service Headquarters or any other headquarter wants to take out any document to, explain any facet, that must be in the form of guidelines only and not as a restrictive rule.
We have a long way to catch up with the global manufacturers and how they sell their, equipment. So in that, taking the current momentum forward, what are the steps?
India has decided to go in for exports. This mental change itself is a very, very big change. Two things were needed. Firstly, the capability, credible equipment, and then a capability to market it in the target countries. Now, since we are doing the co-production with Russia as far as BrahMos is concerned, so Philippines has already contacted the agreement. Number of other countries in the Indo-Pacific as well as in the Western Asia, they have shown lot of interest. So BrahMos and number of other equipments also we are exporting. And as we go ahead in time, I think India has now tasked its embassies who are working with the concerned governments to understand their requirements, and they are connecting those countries both with the public sector undertakings and as well as the private sector. India will be able to do a lot of things on the both the counts. One is on the reduction of imports and second on enhancing exports in this particular sector.
Thank you for that insight into how the Make in India and the Atmanirbhar Bharat effort in defense manufacturing. Thank you so much.
In Madhya Pradesh, relief and rescue operations have accelerated as the rains stopped in most parts of the state. Along with the boat, the help of helicopters is also being taken to expedite the relief and rescue operation in the state. Till date, more than 2,400 people have been rescued and around 4,200 people have been shifted to safer places. Here's more from our correspondent.
Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan also discussed the flood situation and rescue operations with the Air Force officers. Sri Chauhan informed that 2 helicopters of the Air Force have been deployed in the rescue operation.
रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन लगातार जारी है. हम बोट के माध्यम से भी निकाल रहे हैं लोगों को और एयरफोर्स के हेलीकॉप्टर भी 2 हेलीकॉप्टर रेस्क्यू के ऑपरेशन में लगे हैं. एनडीआरएफ लगी है, एसडीआरएफ लगी है, जिला प्रशासन, कलेक्टर, एसपी और स्थानीय जो हमारा प्रशासन है वो पूरी ताकत से लोगों को बचाने में और निकालने में लगा हुआ है.
According to official information, 2 teams of NDRF in Narendra and Vidisha, 1 each in Jabalpur, Sihor, Bhopal and Guna are deployed to rescue people. At the same time, 4 teams of SDRF in Vidisha, 2 in Rajgarh and 3 in Guna are conducting rescue operations through boats. Continuous monitoring is also being done in Agarmalwa, Ratlam and Shahjahanpur districts. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Kerala, the Met Department has issued an orange alert in the districts of Idukki, Thrissur, Malappuram and Kasaragod, indicating the possibility of isolated heavy to very heavy rainfall. A yellow alert has been issued for all other districts in the state except Thiruvananthapuram and Kollam. IMD said squally weather with wind speed reaching 40 to 50 kilometers per hour, gusting to 60 kilometers per hour is likely to prevail over the Kerala coast and Lakshadweep. Fishermen have been advised not to venture into the sea. Olympic champion and World Championship silver medalist javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra has recovered from his groin injury and will participate in the Diamond League meeting in Lausanne, Switzerland on August 26th. This will be Chopra's first event since the World Championship silver medal and after missing the 2002 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham due to injury. And now an overview of today's newspapers. SC says Benami Act can't be applied retrospectively is the Hindustan Times headline. Now wax dry for lumpy skin disease, cattle being vaccinated as disease breaks out of its initial holes of Rajasthan and Gujarat is the Business Standard headline. Inflation to ease at 4% in 2 years after peaking, thus the Asian Age, referring to RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das. The Hindu carries a picture of Komal Chaudhary, a member of first batch of 11 DTC women bus drivers appointed on Tuesday. Businesses having hard time finding skilled manpower, headlines the Economic Times, referring to sectors like construction, infrastructure, logistics, automobile and restaurants that are facing 15 to 30% shortage of skilled manpower. And finally, the Indian Express reports on front page that government is moving ahead with a plan to remove toll plazas across India's national highways.
And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Amrita Hospital at Saridabad in Haryana this morning, to also dedicate to the nation Homi Bhabha Cancer Hospital and Research Centre at Molampur in SAS Nagar district of Punjab in the evening. Prime Minister to also address National Conference of Labour Ministers of all states and Union Territories tomorrow. Centre issues advisory to states on hand, foot and mouth disease, commonly known as tomato flu. ED registers money laundering case in connection with Delhi excise policy scam involving Deputy CM Manish Sisodia. Supreme Court refers petitions filed by warring factions of Shiv Sena to the Constitution Bench. DRDO and Indian Navy test fire indigenous vertical launch short-range surface-to-air missile. Indian Air Force terminate services of 3 IF officers in connection with accidental firing of BrahMos missile into Pakistan. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to attend SEO Defence Ministers meeting at Tashkent in Uzbekistan today, and javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra confirms his participation in Lausanne Diamond League. And that's the end of the morning news. Namaskar.